Yeah. So in this episode of Hell Talk, we just had the Rumble. So the Rumble is our capstone event every season, and it should have took place a few months ago, but Collector's Trove got delayed until 2025, and then the delivery of the Collector's Trove got delayed. But I mean, fortunately and unfortunately, but it didn't delay the event, but it delayed everybody getting the satisfaction of opening at least an entire break on the day of. So that kind of sucked. But yeah, we got Maverick with us. I don't have the sheet with me. I should have grabbed it. But because I forgot what place you actually ended up in. Do you remember?
What place I got out in?
Yeah, like what do you actually
I got out in
get as?
fourth because I was
Fourth. Okay.
fourth. Yeah, because Rick got first, Logan got second, and then Chef got third. Then I got fourth because Miguel died. Steve died just before that, if I'm correct. Yeah, because
Okay.
Chef killed Steve, and then Rick came in and killed me, and then it was the final three. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know exactly what the best question to start off with is, but I hopefully this is a more obvious one. So the the last four people to arrive in the Rumble were you, Miguel, Logan, and Rick. But uh,
Yeah.
but Miguel didn't make it to the final four, and so I mean I understand this saying just what happened is kind of a little reductive in the sense of like because there was probably situations that developed even before that, but
Yeah.
but yeah, so looking at the total exact standings, of when people arrived in the Rumble, the placement that they got in the end. It was the upsets where basically you and Miguel got upset, and then Steve and Chef placed a little bit ahead, right? They like outperformed. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
Steve and Chef placed. I placed on the dot. I was fourth.
Okay. I'm not. I should have got out the
Yeah,
sheet
because you you you
before looking
technically
at it.
set it off, but you didn't participate because you were judging. So it went in league standings before the event. It went Rick, Logan. I believe it was you, then Miguel, if I'm correct, and then me. But obviously taking you out, I slot in the fourth. So Miguel definitely got upset, and then Steve went up, in things. And I know Chef did, but I don't think anyone else did, if I'm correct.
So like I said, if you can break down the last, from the time that your last character came in, till your last character got eliminated. What was the basic rundown of that?
Well, my thing is there was a lot of you know, stuff going on. I guess I wouldn't say behind the scenes, but it was like there wasn't much of a chance I had if I kept partnering with Miguel because everyone knew I was going to partner with Miguel coming into it. Everyone knew. And it kind of happened actually on my second character, which was Flash Raptor. When I didn't attack Miguel, obviously, everyone knew I wasn't going to. And it's like, yeah, I could have helped getting rid of Weapon X, but it would have been backstabbing Miguel. And I was like, I can't, I didn't want to do it. And it's just like, I can't win being partners with Miguel. Like, I didn't have a chance at going up because it's just like everyone was already kind of teamed up, especially like the family, like that's kind of obvious. Chef, Rick, and Logan are kind of probably going to team up for the most part, and then Steve is like a lifelong family friend. It's like, as he said during the Rumble when I was in it, it's like, who's the one that's going to get out between the four? And he's like, it's probably going to be me. So I have to, look out for myself too. And I'm like, yeah, but at the end of the day, it's like for me, I have to get ahead of those four And then I also have to be ahead of Miguel in the end because at the end it could be just down to the two of us, and then it's whoever had the highest health, I guess, in the way or whatever. But it didn't plan out to where I could keep teaming up with Miguel in the end. So when my final character came in, it's like, all right, I have to basically not attack him, but I also have to help others kill him, which it felt horrible in the moment. It's like I had to do it for myself, and Miguel would probably say, I wouldn't have done that or whatever, and it's like, probably not, but who knows if he was in my position. And it's like, when I came in, I kind of helped out. I told Steve and Chef that I'm going to prob you, for attacks. As long as you don't attack me, I'll help you get out whoever comes into the Rumble, right? And ended up that kind of worked for a little bit, and then Miguel came in, and it's like I kept up with the deal, I'll help, and it's like everything kind of went super fast, and then Miguel got out, and then I think Logan came in. Yeah, it's Logan that next came in, and it's like I know they're not going to go for the She-Hulk. I know it because obviously they're going to try to get Rick in, but then Steve's at a disadvantage. So I tried convincing Steve, and it just didn't. At the end, it couldn't get to his turn in time, and I lost my shape change click. I think Logan was the one that did the attack that hit me off of it, and it's like I was just kind of screwed there. And Chef was just able to delete, Steve that turn, and that brought Rick in. And then Rick just, I tried to convince Rick, to kill Logan, but it's just, it wouldn't work. So obviously I died right away. And then that was kind of the end for me. But I knew I couldn't. During my second character, what kind of was it was, yeah, I know we talked about the Jamal, like, I could have not gone for him, and I could have went for She-Hulk. But I was like, looking at it, James Rhodes just, if Swamp Thing would have kept attacking him. And the thing was, if I went for She-Hulk, because there was a turn that Swamp Thing went for me, right? And it's like, he could have kept attacking She-Hulk, but he went for me. I believe. No, that's when he killed She-Hulk. Yeah, so it still stands where he was gonna kill She-Hulk anyway, or James Rhodes, and then go for me. That was obvious. So the thing is like, all right, he got rid of James Rhodes because I kind of helped in that. I did, I think, 2 damage to him, little tips. But if I tried to keep Jamal alive, then I would have had a She-Hulk that could outwit me, and well, I don't have, super senses anymore. So I had to have Steve on my team. Then, Swamp Thing is just ridiculous. He's really hard to kill. Or Man Thing. Yeah, it was Swamp Thing. So I couldn't really get through Swamp Thing myself. But I couldn't attack him because I'd take Mystics, which once again would hit me off my rollout clicks. So then I kind of just, went for Jamal, and to me, I didn't see a better shot, because if I went for, Steve or Chef, I was just gonna get outwitted and then demolished, and it was either me or Jamal that gets out. I can't kill a She-Hulk. She takes way too long to kill, and she would because the problem with Flash Raptor is he was only ever doing 1 damage or 2 if I decided to stay there in Quake, which the problem was I couldn't stay because otherwise, I'll wit. And Swamp Thing just just lives, like I could not have killed a Swamp Thing by myself. So it's just like one of us had to die, and I chose, for me to try to stay in, which I think to me is the right choice at the end of the day, for you got to look out for yourself in a situation like this, and it just wouldn't have worked out if I didn't go for Jamal and I went for She-Hulk. because Colonel James Rhodes couldn't do anything to She-Hulk when they're adjacent to each other. So that's kind of my story on how my Rumble went. And I guess I could explain my first character. My first character kind of came in and just got deleted in like a couple turns. It took him a while because I only take 1 damage with Man Thing from Wheels, but it took forever, and I got out. The first one out. No, sorry, King Arthur. It was 2 KOs in 1 turn with a flurry. King Arthur got out, and then I got out the same turn. It's like, yeah, there's nothing I could do. Wong is just really good. Was really good in it, and the Black Panthers just was locked in combat with Wong, so I couldn't attack anyone. And a 20 defense King Arthur with only an 11 attack usually doesn't hit. So that's kind of how my Rumble experience went for so far playing.
Yeah, from the outside, it felt to me like your first character, the Man Thing, was like a lesson learned character of like, okay, well, I'll never draft a character like that again, because it felt
If
the closest I could see like to a character like that was also on the game was Logan's Doc Sasquatch, but I felt his that character had probably a little bit more impact just because of that perplexing outwit. It's like he could say, "Hey, I might not be able to move up and attack anybody, but like I could outwit your charge, and then
yeah,
you also can't move and attack and hit me." So I feel
and
like
when Logan came in, he kind of was in that with Doc Squatch specifically. He was in the sweet spot of characters. Obviously, had Steve in the Rumble still. Because I think Man Thing just got KO'd by Miguel or Swamp Thing. I mean, um, and it was a really sweet spot for him, and none of us could really kill him directly because once again I had Flash Raptor, so I couldn't do anything. 1 damage doesn't. I can maybe do 2, but I can't kill him ever unless he gets to his like 3rd click. And I did that. I think I did it twice. I got lucky but obviously he kept coming back. And the thing is I thought Man Thing was a really good pick. Like last year, I learned that Catwoman wasn't that good. She just kind of dies, and she had the same effect as Man Thing. But Man Thing, I just didn't get him in a good slot, and I didn't want to waste Flash Raptor as my first. And the thing is Man Thing I think could have done better because of the poison and everything. But the characters that were already on the table, I couldn't pick
yeah,
Flash Raptor.
that's
That's
what.
really what the problem was.
Well, and that's also what I noticed too is like it felt like unfortunately both of the choices at the time weren't very great because like you said, it's like Flash Raptor comes in, it's like there's a lot of mystics on the map. It's
Wong
not.
just insta kills me, and I have to.
Yeah, it was like what it was
The Black
Wong
Panther was
and
hard to
I
burn
think
through,
and King Arthur,
and
right?
King
King Arthur was
Arthur.
all the. Yeah, it's like there's
How I
two.
can't hit
Yeah,
a 20,
yeah. It was basically it was two mystics characters. So Flash Raptor wasn't the choice, but then unfortunately, as you pointed out to me in the game, or somebody pointed out to me, obviously it was because I remember mentioning, I was like, hey, well, Man Thing has the ability, like when he gets hit, like doesn't he place adjacent to them? And it's like, oh, but Wong, you can't.
Yeah, I pointed
And it
that
was
out.
like,
Yeah, you
oh
said it, and
my
I was
gosh.
like,
And I was like, yeah, you got double fucked because, like you said, unfortunately, neither of those characters did much because, yeah, like Wong can just outplay the Man Thing, just stand next to somebody and then hit you. And
yep.
then you're like, yeah, okay,
And the
yeah.
real
So,
bummer is like since Chef and Steve were, it's the same thing that happened during the first Rumble. Remember when I had Hammer Eye, Spider Ham, and um Alex had Franklin Doom or whatever. Well, the Doctor Doom that had his helmet off
oh,
that generates Doom bots or whatever.
the yeah, what the name was that?
I know. I think it's a Mister Fantastic version of
Yeah,
Doom, if I'm
it's like
correct.
yeah, it's like Mr. Fantastic Doom or something. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know what you
Yeah,
mean.
yeah, yeah. And it's like unfortunately, Alex felt bad because we were just sitting there and not doing anything really, you know. And I remember you and Mark were like, "We're just gonna sit here and do nothing," and it's like, all right, well, we have to do something here. Like, I could never hit the Doom because he had 21 defense and I had like a 10 attack or some shit. And then, it's like we basically just sit here, and he couldn't hit me because I think I had something that hammer I did or whatever. It was just impossible for him to hit me. And it's like, all right, so we just decided to move away because the game was in a stalemate halt where it's like you guys weren't going to attack each other, so then we can't do anything. So it was just like it was kind of the same situation of where Wong is with a teammate, but the thing is the other two people were like, we can't team up. It's just like, well, we can't wait them out. You know what I mean? Because then they'll just
Yeah.
move away, and then King Arthur dies. Or whatever. So it was really unfortunate in the slots of how things came out for my first two picks. But my third pick was okay. I still regret it. I should have had double rollouts or something. But yeah,
Okay. Yeah. I'm while you're saying all this, I'm also trying to think about ways uh, to improve the Rumble for next year. And I don't know. One of the ideas I'm bouncing around is a way um to I'd say and I don't know if this is an improvement or not, but I'll just say like a way to increase the number of players that are currently on the map. But I'm not 100% sure if that
my
would make it
dad had a
if that
good idea, but I keep thinking that it's bad. I'll bounce it off you, but to me, having more characters on the field means we have more people at the table, which means we have more time taken between every turn. And no one can really do anything on the side in that case if a bunch of people are at the table. Because my dad had an idea of like, well, if in the real Royal Rumble for WWE, right, every 10 minutes someone comes in. So we actually have like a real clock at the table. It's been 10 minutes. All right, someone else gets added to the Rumble. And I was like, it sounds okay on paper, but with the hero clicks, it's like to me, it's like imagine having 8 people on this table controlling one figure, and it's like you can't really say hurry up. You know what I mean? Like with 4 people, yeah, you can kind of say hurry up, figure out your team before whatever. With 8 people, it's like all right, now I have to look at all 8 cards. I need to know what click all 8 people are on, and I have to choose who I'm attacking. It's not like I could just be like I'm gonna attack them because I have 8 other turns that change the map, change where people are placed, change who's dead, who's not, all this stuff. And it's like, I think it would just get too complicated, if you know what I mean.
yeah, I would definitely think that, yeah, 8 people would be too much. My The additional idea I'm bouncing around is I was thinking like um I agree with you and how your dad was saying like I don't think doing it exactly the WWE way of hey 10 minutes are up, someone comes in, um and just have that all the way through. Like, no, I do think, entries have to kind of sort of be based on eliminations. Um, Even if they're, but I'm just thinking to myself, like, uh, say, for example, you know, um, we, if we don't start the Rumble with 4 players, right? Let's say only like 2 people. I don't know. Maybe 2 is not the best choice. Maybe 3. I don't know, something like that. But let's say it's 2 or 3. It's less than 4, right? Let's say that many people start, and then I said no. Two would not be the number. It would have to be 3. and then say, for example, 3 people start, and then say, in 30 minutes, I add another chair, to the table, and then say, okay, when it, now when it gets to this chair, where a fourth person is going to be in the rumble. And then say, for example, like, and then an hour after that, I add a fifth chair, and say, okay, now when the turn order gets to this chair, a fifth person is going to be in the rumble. And I think 6, I think, would be the limit, because I agree with you. With 8 people, the goal of the rumble is to have quicker turns, and obviously, as we said, like, that would slow down your turn. Your turn time would be increased because you have more options. But also,
Yeah, I can't just be like, oh, we need to get rid of this guy.
Yeah, and I also think that I think 8 people is too much, because imagine a 7v1, right? That is awful. Like, whoever the one is on that, like, that feels so bad. Like, a 3v1 feels bad, right? But a
Yeah.
7v1 would be like, this guy is probably gonna quit HeroClix. Like,
Before we get further into this, going to like the 7v1 thing real fast. Having teams with more players sitting at the table is a lot worse. Just thinking about it. Because imagine a 3v1 like a 3v1v1, right? Those two are going to have to team up for a 2v3, and yet you're still going against a 2v3, So it just becomes increasingly harder to
but
win.
yeah, but I would point this out, like, a 2v3 is a lot better than a 1v3.
100%.
Yeah.
And I agree. But I'm just it's like the more people sitting at the table, the bigger the teams are. And I think the big thing that a lot of people are going to take away from this Rumble is, for the first 2, we kind of tried to play defensive figures and a little bit of offense. This year, it clearly proved that offense is the winning factor. I'm looking at Chef's thing, offense is the winning factor. Maybe a rollout, or one rollout, but we're playing offense. I think that is the takeaway from this year, at least for me, is offense is the key, and your last pick, maybe make it a little bit more defensive than your other 2.
Yeah, and even Rick's choice that won it, Black Lantern Swamp Thing, just an offense character.
Yeah, that had 0 defense in that. Well, I think he has imperv, and I don't think Logan did penetrating damage with She-Hulk, so that kind of helped, like I was saying, like one rollout,
Yeah,
But
right, exactly. But you don't think of him as the defensive character, but there could be situations where, yeah, he's a little tanky, but normally he is just, delete. He's a point him out, kind of knock him out guy. Like, this guy, I'm going to deal him like 8 damage or whatever, and get rid of him. But yeah, I just think, so. Again, I'm thinking just in terms of ratio of teammates, right? So, like, in the situation that we had, as I was talking to you also before the Rumble, of like strategies of like how you could, be set up to win. And I was like, yeah, even if you assume that Rick, Logan, Chef, and Steve, if you assume all of them are going to team up, right? Well, if you're on the map, that means, with the current rule set, that means one of them isn't. So, but like I said, if the rest of the map is them, it's a 3v1, right?
yeah,
If you imagine, if at the end of the Rumble there's 6 players, then that would mean at worst, again. So in the previous example, at worst it was a 1v3, and now the worst example is a 4v2. Again, still bad, but ratio wise, it's better.
Ratio wise, it's better, but
I know
in
I'm not.
HeroClix's world, I think it's actually worse. And the reason I say that is they got 4 attacks on one person, right? Like the 3 attacks on one person was already bad. Now we're doing an additional attack, so we got 4 attacks on one person, and then that person dies, and then now they're just gonna go for the next person, right? So
Yeah, but again, I mean, is that I just ask like, is that necessarily different than? I mean, and this is not exactly even what happened either. Like, if they went, the route of just 3v1ing everybody that came in for the last pick, um, I would say if a Rumble ended with 6 people and 4 of them were teaming up, um, is that any different than Rumble ending with 4 people and 3 of them are teaming up? I'm like, if you're saying like, well, yeah, chances are the 3 people are going to beat the one guy. It's like, okay, yeah, but there's there's a chance. Say for example, like you said, if all 4 people hit one of the guys, he gets knocked out. But it's like, yeah, but it's still 2v4. Like the other guy on your team, could, you know, lock somebody up or knock somebody else out or just hit them enough where they can't damage you anymore. And and then even if you do get knocked out in the process, and then now, this situation is now a 1v2 instead of a 1v3. So I don't know.
yeah,
I'm just thinking. I think the dynamic of the end game situation, because currently it's like the last player, and I think this is one of the flaws of the Rumble that I tried to correct by changing the prize structure from top 4 to top 3. Because the problem of it is that the last player to enter the Rumble, I don't want that player to get guaranteed, bonus prizing. So,
yeah, but
just
it's
from showing up
still
in last. So right, currently the way the rule is like when the last player enters, one more player has to be eliminated, and then
they're
in order for them
guaranteed
to be
prize.
right.
Yeah.
But if it was 6 people, then that would mean that 3 people have to be eliminated in order for them to get guaranteed bonus prize. You know what I mean? Like I think
Mm-hmm.
even if there's a team, setup going on, it's um like there's still a chance that it's like at the end of the day, even if it's a 4v2, it's like it gives, the even if there's a team of 4, like you said, at the end of the day, like somebody in that team is going to have to go out first, and
Yeah.
and 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 in this situation that we had with this Rumble, like you mentioned, I mean, you talked to about it, when you were outside of the Rumble, like Steve knew. He was like, I'm the guy, like I'm number 4. I'm gonna get knocked out if it's us 4. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why he was like, I gotta find somebody else, because he's like, yeah, it would. Steve knows, like he's like, it would be very easy to just work with Rick, Logan, and Steve and to get to the final 4. Insanely easy. He's like, that's a breeze. But if he's like, he knows if he does that, he guarantees 4th place. So, I think if it was, like I said, if there was 6 players at the end, then and Steve still knows that. He knows, like, look, I can't be in the top 4 with the other 3. Like that's not an option for him to win, or to get bonus prizing, right? Now suddenly it's not a 4v2 anymore. You know what I mean? Now it's 3v3.
Yeah.
So I think, again, this is just the idea I'm bouncing around, but I think 6 seems like a good number of
I will
players to
say,
end the event on. But again, this is an idea that I came up with probably in the last couple, hours. So I don't know.
yeah,
I have to really think about it more, but I think that's
going from
yeah.
4 to 6, I definitely think fixes a lot of problems. Because the biggest thing is it literally shows first rumble, last person that came in got first. Second rumble, I fucked up. I will say it, but I got second place still. And I didn't get first, but I got second place, and I came first in league standings. This rumble, third rumble, first one in league standings gets first place. You know, for again. So it's like it seems like because once again during my rumble when I was last in, I came in, deleted someone. All right, we're on. It's like I already got top 3. It's very easy to pick a character that just comes in and deletes someone for you to get the top 3 prizing. But increasing to 6, now I'm not really looking like, hey, I could easily get top 3. I just have to eliminate one person. Now I have to eliminate 3 people. So I think increasing the 6 definitely fixes that biggest problem. But I guess the thing, because I know you're limited on time, so I kind of want to move it to one last thing.
Yeah, no, whatever
Is
whatever you want to talk about, it's fine.
I want to move it to like the prizing, and I understand it's the big event, the last event of the year, and I understand why it's got the amount of prizing, but I guess for me, looking at it, like I think I texted it, looking at it's like you're basically giving out bricks under cost, at least is how I'm looking, as it's laid out, right, on a flat out view, someone that's looking at the Rumble. I'm the minimum entry fee is lower than a brick, so I could pay less than a brick, and I'm gonna get a gift card, and I might get some other
But
prize,
also
right?
to be fair, the gift card stuff that was actually only for top 10. So if 15 people did show up, that it wasn't for everybody. So I just did want to point that out.
Okay, well, so bring that into a factor, right? So then might get a gift card. I don't know if everyone's guaranteed a play at home kit. I don't know. I didn't see that because we only had 9 players.
Uh, no, but no, not everybody's guaranteed. Well, I no, we had but anyway, but yeah, go ahead.
So you might get some other stuff on top of your brick, and odds of being first one in the Rumble, last on the league points. Your odds of getting first place is almost to 0. It's happened 3 times, you know. And the thing is I feel like there's too much prizing for an event that plays like this. Not to sound like, a you know, a bad person or anything. Like I'm just saying like it just feels like it's too big for an event that plays. I kind of tried to compare it to like a one way street, right? Everything's kind of going to happen in the same way every time we do the Rumble, it seems. And I just don't think having all this prizing stacked up for this one event that plays out close to the same every time makes sense. Like I get it's this is what we're playing for the league points, and all that, but I don't know. It just seems like there's too much pricing on the line for something that's so straightforward. There's not really like, for example, when you did, I think the team event, right? It had heavy pricing, and we actually had to play games. It wasn't like it was a one-way street, right? I had to do different things every time. I had to play a different person. It's normal hero clicks. And the Rumble just feels like, all right, we kind of know how this is going to go. And it's like, I'm looking at minimum pricing instead of maximum pricing if I'm not in the top 5. At least it's from how I look at it. I don't know how others feel about that, but it just feels like I think the pricing could be moved to a better event and keep, obviously keep, I think, I was thinking in my head, keeping the trays, keep that unique to the Rumble, the belt, keep it with the Rumble, because it's still the end, kind of the year of the event. But I think, I don't know, for me, I really enjoyed the team events. I really enjoyed the Bling Bashes. If you moved the pricing more to those events, or just one of them, and made that kind of the, not, I guess you could say, bigger event of the season, I think it would also bring out more people. More people could show up to those events because we're not limiting for the amount of people that could be in the Rumble. I just feel like the pricing for the Rumble feels too big for how straightforward it feels. Is just how I look at it. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm not
So
trying to sound
no,
like a,
no, these are really good points. No, because like I said, you make a really good point. This saying. So, what am I trying to get here? If we reduce the prizes, right? Because that's basically the limiting factor of the Rumble right now. Is like I, putting it plainly, it's like I'm not comfortable pre-ordering, you know, that level of prize support for 50 people. Let's just say, right? That's just I can't do that. I don't think my credit card company would allow me. So, but the the but yeah. So by reducing the prize support, we could increase the number of people that participate in the Rumble. The unfortunate part about that is as you saw, like the Rumble is kind of like we're 15 people. Unfortunately, is kind of the max. Like that's
Mhm.
we can't really get more than that because a 30 character Rumble lasts like all day. So
Yeah.
we can't increase the number of characters in the Rumble, and I also don't want to. I players can't just have one character in the Rumble. That's not like they're
You
not
can't be me.
playing. Yeah, you're not playing enough hero clicks to warrant coming out for the event at that point. So yeah, so
But
I
I'm
think
not saying I would want more people for the Rumble. I'm just saying if you took the price support from the Rumble and put it towards a event where we could have more people, I think it would be
no,
more
no,
beneficial.
I agree. Yeah, to say like if there was an event that did have a different event that had a $100 entry fee, but said that top 30, whatever, get something like that. You know what I mean? You're right. I see what
Mm.
you're saying. Um, uh, but yeah. I mean, so and also the reason that I am hesitant at first to reduce the pricing, and again, and I think this is what also took the wind out of the sails of the event, especially for players like Miguel and Jamal. That like I said, they got upset in terms of their placement, and they left a little disappointed. Is that there wasn't sealed product for them to open because I feel like, unfortunately, as you mentioned, like a traditional event, you you don't get betrayed and backstabbed in a traditional event, but in the Rumble, it
Real
happens.
fast with the betray and backstab.
I'm not. I just think
You know,
I don't even want to even get into like the details about that. What I'm saying is like,
no,
in the Rumble, that's an element of the Rumble, right? So somebody's gonna get basically butthurt for
yeah,
something that happened in the Rumble, right? I like to have that large prize support be the hey, it's kind of like you come to the Rumble and you're happy. Something in the Rumble makes you disappointed, but you get a bunch of prize support and you leave the Rumble thinking about that last good thing that happened. Like, hey, I opened the prize support and I got this cool chase or whatever. You know what I mean? So that's what I like about the Rumble. And I feel that unfortunately not having that prize support on the day of took that away, so that a lot of players left still feeling that negativity, because that was the last thing that happened to them. They got eliminated from the Rumble, they felt bad, and they didn't have the opportunity to open anything on that day of to feel better. You know,
To real fast to add to that, like I saw that others felt upset, and I know I was the only one technically opening packs. You know what I mean? That got to open anything that day, and I left feeling a lot. I felt worse for others because for me, in a way, I got to open pack, even though it wasn't from the Rumble. I bought it. I still felt good because I pulled good stuff out of my stuff, and it didn't affect what happened in the Rumble at the end of the day because of that. And that I definitely think is a factor for like it definitely helps to have something good happen right after the Rumble. Or something good happen from the entire day, instead of just getting eliminated.
yeah, and unfortunately, a little, 10, 15, 20, $25 gift card isn't really enough to have,
Yeah.
turn those frowns upside down. Um, but yeah, so and I guess, and it's unfortunate because there was literally, in this situation, there's nothing I could do to have
Yeah, not
prize
on you
support
at
for
all,
the
yeah.
Rumble other than reschedule the Rumble. But and I'm like, and I was like, and that's the thing, is like I'm racking my brain because I'm looking at the calendar. I'm like, I literally can't. There is no day available that we could reschedule the Rumble to without pushing it so far back that it's pre-release for Spider-Verse. You know what I mean? And then nobody cares about this prize support anymore. So then now it's like, now people would feel bad. And then it's like, and here's prize support that nobody wants, nobody cares about, nobody needs. So, and unfortunately, with the way it's going now, still is that it still might be the case where people are getting, you know what I mean? Whenever Safari, their distributor, gets their head out of their ass and gets me their product,
Yeah.
I shouldn't even say Safari, and I'm not trying to blame them, but it's just kind of like the whole situation is very frustrating. But whenever we get product, if they say, like I said, they claim they're going to have some tomorrow, they don't know. They said there's a possibility they
Yeah, I
might
saw
have,
that.
the
Yeah.
distributor might have some tomorrow, which means they're going to get their stuff like on, Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever they said, and then we might get it this coming Friday. So like,
Yeah,
like
there's like a 1% chance of icy happening for us,
yeah,
like
right. Like literally, I'm at the point like where now I say, like, if I go to the IC regional, I'm just playing BRs. Unfortunately, like it's so stupid because it's like
we're
if I
missing
can't,
rivalry, missing soul siphon, just naming big things like mind gem, and it's like
yeah, it's like
those
because
are
there's
three
so many
kind of
one yeah,
staples.
yeah, so many one shots are good, so much equipment is good. I mean, even some of the characters are great. It's just
Yeah, Bloodstone, like it's just
yeah,
stuff that you want to have on that team, and if you lose to someone that does have, for example, I lost, to go home and say I lost because he had a rivalry and I just didn't get mine in time.
exactly.
You're gonna be so pissed. Like it's just not.
Yeah, I lost because on his turn two, he just said words. That's it. And you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's so bad, and you're like, he said words, and I couldn't counter him by saying other words. So,
Because Spider Verse ain't out yet. Yeah.
yeah, or even then, like I said, even if you're, you know, if you're unable to get the fortify, one shot, same thing. And I understand
Yeah,
that
which
that's
was
not
a
part of
release
Safari though,
day,
but
right? Yeah,
yeah,
it's just.
that's the really say. Like I said, I'm gonna try to get as many as I can, uh, from God Comics, um, on Friday, the day before.
I
So
don't need one. I bought a kit, so don't worry about
no,
so I
I'm
don't.
just saying because I know everybody else, and I'm just saying
Yeah.
I would I don't know how many
Because I know
they're
me and
gonna
Miguel
allow
got
me to
it,
get,
and I think, yeah, I definitely know that I don't even know how to say the last name. Rick's
but
crew definitely don't got it.
Prignanos, the
Yeah,
bloodline.
Frigiano, yeah. Yeah, they don't, I believe, got any 4 or 5, so they'll definitely be happy.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, yeah, but like I said, yeah. Like I said, I might be going to an IC regional just to play in a BR. That's just it's wild, so
Um,
wild.
one last thing, I did feel, the biggest overhauling factor of the Rumble is I'm not excluding myself from being one of the people that took it seriously, but it definitely feels like some people, lots of us take it seriously during the Rumble. While you're sitting in that chair, you kind of take it serious. You know what I mean? And it kind of takes the fun out of it, in a way, I guess. Because you're a one man army, and it just really, you got to really nail down and try and do your best, and it just kind of takes, I guess, the fun out of clicks itself in a way. But it also kind of makes some toxic moments during the Rumble. Like, yeah, I believe I was the only one that did any backstabbing. I'm not gonna, not say that, So it's like, I definitely feel like I did a couple toxic things there, but there's also other toxic things that happen. Toxic feelings get, pushed around. People get a little heated. And it's just it doesn't feel like a fun, I guess, and nice environment, I guess, to play in. And that's nothing on you. That's just how the event is and how I seen it and how some other people I know, I believe, I think Steve said something about to me about people just take this really seriously, and he's also said a little bit a thing about toxic. It's just a really toxic kind of game with the Rumble, I guess is the way to put it. There's too many heated moments. But there's great ones. Like, I won't lie, like the Miguel rolling fives upon fives. That was legendary. We all were smiling, all laughing, even the people that were in the Rumble. But then there's moments where it kind of gets quiet and we're all like, no, screw you. No, screw you. It's like, and you kind of leave you get out and you leave the Rumble a little disappointed because of, or majorly disappointed for some. It's like it just doesn't feel great, and it spreads a lot of toxicity is what I noticed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hopefully, like I said, I think I can't guarantee the level of seriousness that people play at, in that event. Um, but I think, like I said, I'm taking everybody's feedback. Like I said, I took everybody's feedback from the last one, and I hopefully we can improve, moving forward, and I think we can hopefully combat some of that seriousness by doing a couple of things that you brought up, like I said, which are really good points. Like I said about the prize support, and I think also it might, um, like I said, increasing the number of people in the event, towards the end of it. I think that maybe will also help. I'm not 100% sure, but but yeah, I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, it might just be a format that uh, doesn't lend itself to 100% fun all the time. But I mean, that's also why I try to, bring a bunch of other games and other activities for people to take in when they're not in the event, or and I try
What
to, get
that's something
everybody.
that I want to bring up is it kind of got to a point later in the Rumble where no one really did anything else besides watch the Rumble because of how intense it was. And that was also even in the very very beginning. Yeah, we were mostly everyone that wasn't in it didn't give a shit. I mean, you could just tell we were all
Well,
doing
I
our
mean,
own
that's
things.
I think that's
But
kind of
then it
typical
like
though.
You know, the first time you come in, all right, now you're paying attention for the entire Rumble. You know, and it's like all the side activities kind of go out the window, and to a point you kind of feel a little bit bored it's sometimes, but you gotta watch the Rumble because you gotta know certain things. You know, that's the best way to put it. You just gotta know stuff and who's kind of teaming at what times, you know, and it just there wasn't time directly to do other things, I guess is the way to put it. You know, like it's nice to have the option, but it no one really did any of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I can't force people to do other stuff, but I can just offer it. And I mean, and so I think a lot of people did other things as well. Even if it was also just other HeroClix games. But and I also think too, I think it's kind of impossible to prevent, like you said, towards the end, to kind of prevent everybody from huddling over and just watching it because they know it's the end. They kind of want to see what goes on at the end. So, um,
Saying
yeah,
I
like I
wasn't
said,
one of the people that kind of like stood and watched around. I'm just saying it's like you could just tell there was games sitting out that weren't played, you know, fully, that just kind of sat there because we all were just watching the Rumble, and side stuff. It just seems kind of like it goes downhill really fast. Um,
yeah, no,
but
I mean, I anticipate that, but I mean, it was good to see at least some people try the other stuff out at least once
yeah,
or twice. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna quit off the recording here. And we can definitely continue this conversation another time. And I also want to try to get other people's perspective on it too. I want to see if I can get you know, I definitely want to see what Rick's perspective is. Obviously, I'm assuming he's probably going to give a much more positive light considering he won the event. You know what I mean? But still want to get everybody's feedback that I can, and try to compile it, and then see if there's any feedback that overlaps and has similar suggestions. Then we can definitely push those into the next year's changes,
yeah,
because like I said, I don't think this event's ever going to be perfect. I think every year we do it, we're going to improve a little bit, and some of the changes we make might not be they might turn out not to be improvements at all. But hey, I'm willing to try. I was, to be honest, I was really hesitant on changing how the draft works last time. I was like, oh, I think this might suck. But it actually did turn out to be an improvement. I think it was. I don't know if you would agree, but it seemed to be better for
yeah,
most
it
people.
was an improvement, but there's actually I don't know if you want to write this down or something just real fast. There's two more improvements. I don't have to go over them now because I have to go. You have to leave. But there's an improvement to the draft that I thought of, and there's also an improvement um for character points while drafting.
All right.
Um,
Well, like I say, hold those thoughts. I'm gonna stop the recording now, and we'll pick that up another time because I definitely want to hear about it.